Hello guys, this is Fashion Star Gold. In today's tutorial, I want to teach you how to cut a trendy short gown with a bow and a yoke. The yoke will be replaced with a white lace. So I've already ruled my line, but I'm going to explain it. This is my shoulder. The shoulder is 8.5 inches, but I'm taking 10 inches. I came down by 1.5 inch. Then the armhole is 9 inches. I'll rule a line. This is where the yoke will stop. From shoulder to yoke is 7.5 inches. I've drawn a line. Shoulder to bust point is 12.5 inches, but I'm taking 13 inches because of the allowance at the top side of it. Shoulder to under bust is 16 inches, but I'm taking 16.5 inches. Shoulder to waist is 18.5 inches. Shoulder to hip is 25.5 inches. The length of the gown is 45 inches, including the allowance. So nipple to nipple measurement is 5 inches, as 4.5 inch plus half inch, that is 5 inches. I'm taking the 5 inches all round. This is my under bust. The under bust, I measure 2 inches here, 2 inches this way, another 2 inches this way. From the hip, I came up by 2 inches. I rule this line here. This from the waist to the 2 inches there. So I'm going to connect the breast cup now. This is my 2 inches, that allowance. I'm not taking anything from here. So I'm going to connect it this way. Then from these 2 inches, I'll come up here. This is the yoke line, which is 7.5 inches. So I'm going to measure this same 2 inches up here. I've already done the measurement here. So I'll now connect it this way. So this is my breast cup. This is my breast cup. I'm going to replace the 2 inches here. If I don't replace it, it will be short. So I've replaced it this way. So I want to take the circumference now. The bust is 44 divided by 4, which is 11 inches. 11 inches there. 11 inches plus 4 inches allowance. So I'm going to take 15 inches there. I'll measure the same 15 inches this way. So I'll skip the under bust measurement, which is 38 inches. 9.5 inches divided by, that is 38 inches divided by 4, which is 9.5 inches. I'm going to skip it. I'm not going to measure it. I'll go to the measurement of the waist. The waist measurement is 42 inches, which is 10.5 inches plus 2 inches, that allowance. That is 12.5 inches. So I'm taking 12.5 inches plus 3 inches allowance. For the hip is 47 divided by 4, which is 11.75. So let me approximate it to 12 inches. 12 inches. 12 inches plus 3.5 inches allowance. I'll come to the down measurement. I'll then subtract 1 from 12 inches, which is 11 inches. I'm marking 11 inches there. 11 inches is going to be a pencil gown. 11 inches plus 3 inches allowance. 3 inches or 3.5 inches allowance. So I'll connect it this way. All this allowance, I'm going to trim it out. It's good for you to have allowance than for you not to have any allowance. You'll be looking for how to join the material. So allowance is very important. If you don't add allowance, you spoil somebody's clothes. So I'm using my hip cuff to connect the hip now. So for the 2 inches that I took from here, I'm going to mark it this way. Let me even add half inch to it for the sewing allowance. So this place will be the yoke. I'll replace this place with a less material. So for the yoke now, I'm going to add half inch here, sewing allowance, add half inch, half inch all through. So this is how the front will look like. I'm cutting it now. I'm cutting the yoke now. For the neck, I took 4.5 inches neck width, and the neck depth, I'm taking 4 inches. So this is the yoke here. When you are cutting, remember to nudge. I just notched on that bus here. This is the bus. This is the hip. This is my front side of it. So this is the front side of it. If I have enough material, I'll include a pocket. If I want to include a pocket from the waist line, this is the waistline, I'll come down by 2 inches for the pocket. Then from here, I'm going to measure 7 inches. Then this is where the pocket will stop. So this is how the front side will look like. This is the yoke that will be replaced by a lace. So this is how it's going to look like. This is the back side of it. I've already rolled my line, but I'm going to explain it. This is the shoulder. I took 10 inches plus the allowance. I came down by 1.5 inch. The neck width is 4.5 inches. The neck depth is 1.5 inch. So I had to add allowance of 5 inch. This is my armhole line, which I took 9 inches. This is shoulder to where the yoke will stop, which is 7.5 inches. This shoulder to bust point, which is 12.5 inches. Shoulder to waist, which is 18 inches. Shoulder to hip, which is 25 inches. The length of the gown is 45 inches with allowance inclusive. So this is my bust span measurement, which is 5 inches. At the waistline, I took the dart of 1 inch, half inch at both sides. I've already taken my circumference. It's the same thing with the front side of it. Circumference is the same thing as the measurement of the back side of it. It's the same thing. This is the bust is 11 inches plus 3 inches allowance. The waist is 10.5 inches plus 1 here, 11.5 inches plus 3.5 inches. The hip is 12 inches plus 3 inches. At the downside, I deduct 1 inch from the 12 inches, which is 11 inches plus 3 inches allowance. Here, this is my zip allowance. I took 2 inches all through, but at the hip side, I took 2.5 inches because this is where the back side will relax. It has to relax. So the downside, I took 2 inches. So I'm going to cut it now. This is my yoke. First of all, I'll notch it. I'll notch my zipper, the zip allowance. As I said, if you are to add a pocket to it, at the waist measurement, you come down by 2 inches. Come down by 2 inches from the waist measurement. Then you measure 7 inches. With 7 inches, a hand can enter very well, comfortably. So I intend adding a pocket to it, but let me finish my markings and my cutting to see the material or the fabric that will be left out, because I don't have enough fabric left. It's only 3 yards of material. So I'm cutting it now. So this is the back yoke. Cutting the dart now. So that is the back side of this. So I'm going to notch it now. So I still want to cut the back yoke and replacing it with a less fabric. So I'm going to add ½ inch allowance. So this is how the back side will look like. So as you can see, this is the back side of it with the yoke. Now I want to cut the sleeve. Or before I cut the sleeve, let me cut the pockets. Yes, I can have small material for the pocket. The pocket will be divided into 4 pieces. So the width of it can be 8 inches. The width of the pocket can be 8 inches. The length can be 10 or 11 inches. So let me take 11 inches. So I'm going to place my hand. If you place your hand like this, and you find out that your hand has entered, that means you have gotten a pocket. So this is the pocket. If it is too deep, for instance, you put money inside. If it's too deep, you'll be looking for the money. It'll be difficult for you to see the money because it's too deep, not too shallow. So this is my pocket. I'll come down by 1 inch, then I'll connect it to the edge here. So this is my pocket here. The pocket is ready. I want to cut the sleeve now. If you have a bow tie, This is the sleeve. For the length of the sleeve, I'm taking 16.5 inches. I want the folding, the ruffle, to enter inside. For the width, I'm taking 9.5 inches. This is 9.5 inches. 9.5 inches. So from here, I mark 5.5 inches. Or you can call it 6, but it does not reach where 6 is. It's 5.5 inches there. I mark 5.5 inches. Then I now cut. I put my scissors from the edge here. I cut it this way. So where the 5.5 inches stop, then I now go straight. So this is how I cut the sleeve. This is how the sleeve look like. Why I'm cutting it this way, for me to have some ruffle, because there's going to be elastic here. There's going to be elastic. So I'm going to gather it, and the elastic will be inserted. So this is how the sleeve will look like. I've cut the two sides of it. All these ones is gathered. I'm going to gather it. So that is how the sleeve look like. I have one here. I have the second one here. So the next batch is going to be how to sew it. So this is the part 1 of it. Part 2 will soon come. So please watch this video from the beginning to the end. It's very simple. For the bow tie, this is how I'm going to do it. The bow tie will be placed at the front. I'm going to mark 4.5 inches all around. 4.5 inches all around. So I want to check whether it's correct, whether the cutting is equal. So if it's not equal, I'm going to trim out some areas that are not equal. I'll cut it into 2. This is the bow. Then I'll fold it this way. I'll fold it into 2. Then I'm going to measure 2 inches. And I'll slant it from here to this edge here. For it to give me a very fine shape. So this is how my bow tie is going to look like. I will sew from here, sew this way, sew this way, sew this way, and then I'll bring it out. I will insert it So please watch this video from the beginning to the end. It's not difficult. Just watch it step by step. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. Just encourage me to grow. Thank you so much. I love you guys. God bless you. Bye.